obviously Erin Furry. Erin Furry, she's one of the, I would say the most elitist next to Viking Ninja. You have a system that's designed for steel mace training, body weight priming, a lot of range efficiency. She's done all the work to create steel mace yoga, venture in a path of body weight durability, and even has her own style of yoga, her system, which is very unique, runs off of luminous heart.
Luminous heart, yeah.
Right, so Erin, let's hear about Erin. A lot of people out there say, hey, this girl with you in these steel mace videos, they're like, who is she? Why is she with you? So I figured you could go ahead and explain yourself. And yeah, just how do we start out? How did you start?
Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, you and I go way back, but even before you, I really got intrigued with the body, kinesiology, and movement. So I got my teacher training, got my yoga certificate, and started teaching yoga. Believe it or not, I was very shy around people. I had social anxiety, and so through practicing teaching in front of people, I became to like get my voice and be more confident to teach in front of people and learn more about the body. Then that led me to massage. I got my massage certificate, 500 hours, just because I wanted to be more involved in helping people with their bodies, and it kind of, the two of them kind of really blend together and mix. And so I increased my knowledge about body and kinesiology and how to work on people. So after creating my own business from massage called Luminous Heart Wellness, which kind of integrated yoga, personal training, which I eventually would get into, and massage therapy. So I created that. With Black Swan Yoga, I started teaching there, and bought out Black Swan Yoga, and that's where I met you, started training underneath you. And as soon as I met you, and it really intrigued me to learn more about personal training and more movement and strength in the body. And as soon as I met you, and as soon as I realized how much knowledge you had, I was very intrigued. Like, I wanted to know everything about you. I wanted you to teach me. So I think eventually, once I proved myself to you of working really hard, showing up to your classes, and just really being committed to training and committed to learning, you finally started to notice, and you kind of brought me under your wing a little bit, and you taught me a lot of discipline. That was the main thing that I learned about discipline. And me as a very emotional person, I started to bring my emotions into some of my training. And that was one thing that also you taught me a lot about, is like, you don't have to be emotional to train. You don't have to take things personally. And you're a pretty intense kind of guy, especially when you train, because you take it very seriously. And that was one of the kind of agreements between this kind of coach and student relationship that we had, is like, if you're going to do this, be committed and be disciplined about training and about learning.
That's interesting. You brought up discipline many times before, but even now, what does that mean? It's like, where are people going to find that discipline that you found with me, right? So what is that?
Okay, that's a really great question. I think specifically it comes from being passionate about something from the heart that you really are passionate about. That creates something where you want to be disciplined. So disciplined is where you challenge yourself to maybe do things that you don't normally want to do, going outside of your comfort level, but showing up every day and putting 110%, and being disciplined to being a student, and to listen and to acknowledge my faults and acknowledge the things that I need to work on and get better at.
Right.
And just mainly just being there and showing up even when you don't want to, just
sure
being disciplined to the system to what you're learning.
Correct. Yeah, I totally agree. That usually carries over very well in a education field, right? You have like a huge field of education where you're like, oh, I can learn this, that, and it almost feels like you're learning just fitness, but you're not. You're learning how to be a more intelligent, human, cerebral conditioning type being,
right?
Where you start to find yourself living a certain lifestyle in your head, and it kind of changes you. So I feel like Viking Ninja does that with that discipline level.
Yeah.
So, and also because of that, you started to work your mind, and I seen you do that, and I was like, this girl has to have something other than just Viking Ninja? I mean, obviously you are Viking Ninja with the whole system. You know it. You probably know a little more than me. This is a little funny because you remind me of some things. But when it really comes down to it, your passion shows because you have lit up what I see Viking Ninja women. And with Viking Ninja women, you know, I get all these questions and I'm like, well, you got to ask Furry because she's the one disciplined into this factor. So let everyone know what that discipline took you with that Viking Ninja women and what is Viking Ninja women?
Well, okay. So first kind of going back to like, I just want to talk about this real quick because it is kind of like martial arts in martial arts it is discipline. And I love how you transferred all of that and made it a part of what Viking Ninja is and that mentality and that discipline. And then you taught me discipline in all fields. So what's really great about like you as my coach is that you taught me, bow staff and nunchucks and boxing. And boxing was one of the really things that I like really latched onto, that I learned a lot of discipline from you, and it was mirrored into myself. And I learned a lot about myself through you, through the system, through Viking striking, and then the millions of other kinds of different things that you taught me. But
paths, right?
There's so many different paths, and I've been with you since the very beginning. So and I've been dedicated to Viking Ninjas from the very moment that you created it. Even before you even created, I was dedicated to you and to learning from you. I've been an ongoing student, disciplined and dedicated to it from the very beginning. And since I have such a passion in it, that's why it's like allowed me to like gather so much information and be very excited about it. So I've been like a sponge to you with Viking Ninja and seeing it grow and evolve and like so many different paths. And so one other thing that I've always wanted, and one thing that helped empower me is like through women and being involved in women's groups and women's empowerment. And so the way that happened was, it's a little intimidating, I think, for some women just to look at Viking Ninja and, some kind of the fitness industry is overrun with a lot of men and testosterone. And
but what you've created, because what separates these two, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's Viking Ninja is a system. And it's not meaning it's for male, it's not for young, it's for all, right? Not, just for women. But what we did was create a lane for just women. Now, I agree with that because the empowerment behind that, we've heard so many certifications. There's women that are like, I like it. It's just, it's a lot of testosterone. Mm-hmm. And sometimes guys can't turn that off because that's just part of guys.
It's just the way they're wired.
Right. And so there's got to be an energy level in the environment where women actually resonate with their own type of energy, right?
Exactly.
And I'm not saying all the energy is the same, but when you listen to a coach like you dial them into a certain energy. And when the whole class and everybody's doing that energy, that's discipline. So when you have like Sue and May, a lawyer, May who doesn't have a job, but they're still feeling the same thing. They're building a community around, everyone's different. And when I see that awaken social media and even here, because you're building this Viking Ninja women and a lot of people are super interested. How do people get involved? How do the women get involved? And honestly, and this has nothing to do, take away from men. Men can always join Viking Ninja. There's always that push, that high intensity level they can go to. But for women, I feel like it's got to be a specific avenue of learning, engaging a certain energy, right? Like you're just trying to work with that. So what is that discipline? How do these women go towards Viking Ninja and explain Viking Ninja women?
Okay, like you said, it's kind of a path. It's less intimidating, but it's also just a way for us to like connect, because women, we like to chat, we like to be, we have an emotional connection. It's different. And so in the past we've created these communities. We're in communication with each other every time. We're doing all these Viking Ninja women challenges and like putting out videos, and we're there as a support system for each other. And we're we like to stay in communication and in touch with each other, and build each other up,
which is dope, because you don't, it's not like, oh, just women, we're forgetting everything else. You guys, you ladies seem to build something where it's like, hey women, if you want to join. And there may be some women are like, no, thank you. And then you guys are still good people, like, oh, it's okay. Anytime you want to join later, or if you never do, it's fine. You guys have this positive attitude. But the ones that come in, what happened? What do you think sets them off for women, VKNJA women? What sets them off? Like, oh, I want to be
I don't
VKNJA
know.
women.
It's just this empowerment, and once you get past the fear of like it being too intense or whatever, just to be able to see and be comfortable and know that other women are doing all these, things at whatever level you are, like taking them and building each other up.
Yeah.
I think that's just like the whole VKNJA system itself is very empowering. And I think once you get, women can get past that and see there's a whole community of women that are also building each other up and posting each other and doing all these challenges together. I think that's what's intriguing for more women. It's about community. And, VKNJA is all about community. And it is not, it's not excluding men altogether. I see guys posting up our VKNJA women's challenges too. They're like, they're doing the challenges too, which is awesome.
So what makes this what seems segregated is not.
It's not. It's
very, very universal and all the way around, because in VKNJA community, we believe in support system, and that support system has we don't judge, we don't accuse, we don't do none of that, because those things lead into bad things.
Right.
What we would rather do than that is to find solution, build, create, and empower. And I believe that within this system, you next to me, you've become that element, that inspiration to people. And that goes to the next topic, which is Still Mace Yoga. Let me say something before you even get into that. Still Mace Yoga is the most incredible yoga system with Still Mace I've ever seen. Okay, because it's the only Still Mace yoga system out there. But what's incredible about what you're doing with that is you're not discrediting the yoga. You're always telling, your students to line yourself up with these yoga positions first before you grab that mace. Now you can grab the mace and have a good time like learning, but when it comes to you scaling the system and people's learning, you really have a good way of getting them to really iron in their bodies with this yoga that you put together with Luminous Heart, and then it translates into this Still Mace Yoga. So that's why I look at Luminous Heart, Furry, into Fury.
The Fury.
Right. And so with the stability work you have, with the range efficiency work with Mace is a perfect feedback tool. You also have ways to get out of stable areas that tend to load up too much. And it's that furability work. I say furability. But it's really durability work for the body to open up, release tense areas that linger around joints, or just even compressed muscles. So I would love for you to talk about Still Mace Yoga. Go ahead and take your whole time. I just thought I'd let you know and everyone else out there know, if you're missing out on Still Mace Yoga, now's not the time. You want to upgrade, you want to level up, and you want to know what this incredible woman's all about. So that Still Mace Yoga will blow your mind away.
All right. I have so much to say. I don't even know where to start. I can start by saying that you inspired me by saying, Erin, you should do Still Mace Yoga. And I was like, light bulb in my head. I'm like, oh, I should. And like, how did I think that about the before? So you were kind of the idea inspiration behind it. But I'll just say, you just gave me that and I just ran with it, because honestly, it takes the three components of like all of my knowledge and all of the things that I have passionate about. And I pretty much created like, the most amazing thing from all my knowledge and all my heart and soul into this trademark, into this Still Mace Yoga. And so, so the three components is the durability, furability, if you want to add my name into it. And, that's movement of the joints, mobility. And a lot of people don't have a lot of knowledge about that. It's just movement of the joints. And one thing that yoga, some people get too flexible into yoga that it goes into the joints, right, and they lose that strength around the joints. So that's one component. And like you said, the body weight yoga, you have to be able to hold poses and be stable and know the body weight before you just hand somebody a weight. And that is an important part. And I've really had been not just creative, but everything is kind of like puzzle pieces of putting everything together of how this system actually works in a perfect way where one flows into the next. So being able to move and have flexibility is one thing, and then next is being able to have the strength and stability, and being able to use your core and your bandhas to hold and move through those poses, and then being able to bring in the weight and integrate all the things, including your breath and movement and the push and pulls, the activation.
All those methods.
Yeah, and so there's a lot mentally going on. And I would think that a lot of women, because, Still Mace Yoga was kind of put underneath Viking Ninja Women, because we thought like a lot of women would be more attracted to it. And it's been such a surprise lately how many men show up to my classes and how many men really love it, because it's like it brings that next level of intensity to yoga. I mean,
if I was to say it really is something very different from men.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the friends I have that are men, all of them go to yoga.
No.
So when they see a steel mace, they feel like, oh, I'm going to grab that with yoga. It looks like I can get strength out of it. But then they find themselves in a realm of, I don't understand what's going on here. Yeah. So that's
and then
why
they're sweating profusely and they're shaking. They're like kind of humbled down by like, wow, okay, this is a lot more challenging than I thought it was. And I'll explain that in just a moment. But at first I want to just talk about how like different people have different perceptions of what yoga is, because there is different types of yoga out there.
Okay, I just want to say, I don't like the yoga war. I don't like the fitness war. What I am more, more concerned about is bad trainers. That's all so if there's bad trainers, bad instructors, one could be physically hurting you, or one could be mentally destroying you as well.
Right.
Saying you're not capable of doing this.
Right.
Or look at that guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. These are toxic emotions, I think. Mm-hmm. Especially when you're not paying attention to somebody's body because you're so egotistical about you being the best coach. You're swinging your time clock and looking at your phone, and then this guy's doing like maybe 5 bad reps and his back went out and you didn't even know what happened.
You have no idea.
Those are the things I blame. Now, when you're talking about yoga systems, right? So I honestly feel like every yoga system should actually give it a chance with Steel Mace Yoga. Why? It's still yoga, just holding on something like you said, which was the Bandha?
So, okay, I want to talk about that too.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay. Explain that.
What I was going with the yoga is like a lot of people have experience with like, I don't like yoga because it's too stretchy or whatever, because that's what restorative yoga is, or it's this holding pose is too long. Just know that I have my own system within my Steel Mace Yoga, and that's more of a power yoga and vinyasa yoga. And so, like I said, some people, I just have an idea about what yoga is before they actually, because there's different types. So give it a chance, because it is, it's more, it's just more powerful. It's more power yoga. And so that really translates. So the poses that I use in my system through body weight translates exactly with just putting those movements. Now you're just placing a steel mace in your hand, and now you're using the push pulls. And what makes it the most challenging, I think, compared to Viking Ninja, where it's like a lot of high intensity or dynamic movements or fluid movements, this slows it way down. So when you're holding a pose and you're using push-pulls activations with the Steel Mace, so everything's active. So with the bandhas, what I'm talking about, bandhas or energy locks, or locks in the body, pulling the pelvic floor up and in, drawing the belly up to your spine, engaging your core. And then what I like to use as my own bandha for Steel Mace Yoga is the pull apart on the mace, which activates that whole activation throughout your shoulders, all the way through that whole full line activation.
Kind of like stabilizing the thoracic and then scalps together.
So that's also kind of like a bandha in the body. It's creating that stabilization and also upper body strength. So what you'll notice in yoga, it's a lot of lower body, it's a lot of holding poses. There's a lot of chaturanga, so which are the push-ups, the vinyasas, which can be overly taught. I mean, if you do so many of those, eventually your shoulders start to impinge, and it's just like doing too much upper body or front loading.
It's like you become how you look with too much of that movement.
It's too much repetition, right?
Yeah.
And so one thing that Steel Mace Yoga does versus just regular yoga is it tones and creates this upper body strength. Now you have a steel mace that you're pressing over your head that you're using into rotation, and you're gaining strength through rotation and in the upper body. But also to really kind of compensate from all the push-ups or the chaturangas. Too much of this. There was a lot of going behind the back, behind the shoulders, to open the shoulders up and create more range and mobility in the shoulders and the joints. And that's one of the many ways that it helps, is just by opening up the shoulders, opening up rotation, and also stabilizing the joints. Because like I said, with yoga, people get too bendy, too flexible. And then once a joint stretches out, you can't go back after that.
I have a thing on that. I feel like if you're too bendy, too stretchy, you shouldn't go to yoga thinking you're just going to show off, because literally you will hurt yourself off wear and tear.
Right.
I feel like they need to do level 1.
Right.
Where they need to stabilize certain sharp areas and certain, positions, rather than going too far into it.
Right. So it brings balance to both areas of people.
Right.
People that are too bendy, it brings more strength and stability, strengthening the muscles around the joints to stabilize the joints, and it brings more strength.
And we're not to land your position. I mean, sometimes people are like, get here, not down there.
Right. And because some people's muscles just turn off and they forget how to turn them back on. Like flexy, really bendy people, they forget how to activate muscles. So it brings back that in. Now the opposite is true for people that are really tight and they don't have a lot of flexibility. The strength kind of guys. Now there's also the restorative part of yoga, which is what I teach after, we put the still mace down, and we have to release the tension that we just been building. So it creates not only mobility, but flexibility for people that are just too, they're too tight from working out too much. So it really benefits and balances both worlds.
So you're already kind of talking about the Still Mace Yoga system. That's great. I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people out there really want to know that. Well, I'm very excited because we do have a online certification coming out in January. So it's the 29th, 30th, and 31st. And I'm very happy that you're going to be a part of that, because those 3 days that we do the 5 hours of certification, people are going to resonate with you. They're going to understand who you are. And, if for all you guys that are out there that are hearing about the certification, it's welcome for all beginners. It's welcome for all those that are pro athletes as well. This is a good system to supplement with whatever training method you have, whether it be kettlebell, body weight, barbells. It's a great method next to your everyday routine. Erin Furry has definitely grown, and would love for her to share all her knowledge within Viking Ninja. So that will come out soon. And I'm glad you're very, very
awesome.
Addicted to this thing.
Right. And I'll talk about just a little more things. So he's talking about the Viking Ninja Certification, which I'm very extremely happy and excited to continue teaching those, because we've been teaching those together for so long. But yeah, this COVID thing has really kind of, shifted the way that we, but now it's actually challenging us to experience life in a different way, and challenging us to be able to still stay connected but online, and finding new and better ways to still get the information out.
And that's the beauty of it, right?
And so I just want to talk about also, I've been working on Still Mace Yoga for 2 years now, and I love being able to go around and do workshops one-on-one, but the real main thing is it's only going to grow when people start teaching it themselves. And so I just recently during COVID, finished my 500-hour teacher training, which allows me to certify people now legally to teach Still Mace Yoga, which I'm extremely excited about. That was my next big step. So not just
you put in all the hard work to get that certification.
Right.
Most people wouldn't do that. They would just, I'm going to make a certification without doing any work. So for you to put in the work first, to get your hours in yoga, to get the credibility to teach, that's respect.
And so and so now I'm really excited, even though I am creating an online certification. It can be online or in person, which eventually I hope next year we can start doing that again. But I'm very excited to share my Still Mace Yoga certification, to get it out to the world, for people to start teaching it out, for it to expand and go worldwide. And that's just been kind of the thing, is that 500-hour finally finished it for me to be able to go to my next step, and that's my next goal with Still Mace Yoga. And I can't wait for all of the guys, because there's some people out there, they've been waiting so patiently for they just want to teach it, they want to share it with the world. And so that's my next biggest thing, and I can't wait to
if that's the case, then let's say it now. Still Mace Yoga will launch, the Still Mace Yoga certification will launch next 2021 online first. But just because it's online it really doesn't matter. I feel like we are still capable of training people the way they should be, and if they have questions, we do have these classes they can attend, so that way they can keep working continued education with us. So,
and also I want to say I've been working hard to create a subscription channel where people can pay a monthly fee and have access to where I can split it up in just doing mobility exercises, or just or just yoga strengthening, or just flexibility, or still Mace yoga, or learning breakdowns. And like they have the whole library of these different types, or these different sections of what still Mace yoga is, at a monthly cost, a very low monthly cost. And so I've been trying to build that library, and that's also going to launch in 21.
Well,
so lots are happening.
Sounds exciting. Yeah. Well, let everybody know where they can find you, Viking Ninja Women, and Still Mace Yoga.
Okay. First, I never said this, but ladies, please reach out to me. Don't be afraid. Just reach out to me no matter what level you're at. If you want to be a part of Still Mace or Viking Ninja Women, we can get you in and start you out and create and build the community there. There is a Viking Ninja Women page, so VKNJA Women. Follow that, and
it's at VKNJA Women. It's on Instagram. Also
on Instagram and Facebook, I have Still Mace Yoga. I'm sure you know how to spell that, STEEL, Mace Yoga. There is also a Facebook page for that, so please follow both. I run like 4 or 5 different Instagrams. So my Instagram is Erin Furry, which is my name, ERINFURRY. And yeah, I think that's all that you need to know.
If you got a little confused off all that, it goes 1, Erin Furry, ERINFURRY. That's on Instagram, so it's an @. Then you have VKNJA Women, and then you have Still Mace Yoga. We will be announcing a lot more with Still Mace Yoga and Viking Ninja Women, and we appreciate you on as always.
I just want to say I appreciate you, Isik, as just being my leader, my coach, my mentor for so long. You know, we've come a long ways together, and I'm really honored to be on your first podcast, and excited to keep following the podcast and our evolution as we grow together. So
awesome. I like that. So and if you don't know what we're talking about, let me give you a visual. Check out this video coming up next with Erin Furry.
Hey guys, today I want to show you a pose breakdown of a bicep extension in Warrior 2 for Still Mace Yoga. But I really want to talk about the push-pull activations that is important to use in the pose. So I'm going to first come into Warrior 2. Heel to heel alignment with the front knee bent, knee over the ankle. My hips are open. And I pick up the Still Mace with it under on the Still Mace head side, over on the handle side at a cross body top position. Now to do a bicep extension, I need to use the push-pull activations to create stability in my arm. So first in position, I'm gonna lock it in by pulling the Still Mace apart. Now to push it away from the body, I'm gonna use a push where I'm pushing my hands in together to reach out. Now I'm gonna go to the length of my range without hyperextending the elbow. And at the end, I'm gonna lock it in by pulling the Still Mace apart, locking it in. Now to bring it back in, I'm gonna have to push the Still Mace back in together to bring it back in, create stability on the way back. And crossbody top, sealing in the deal, pull it apart. Now this is important because you don't wanna just lengthen out with no activation in your arm. I've even seen people put the Still Mace on their wrist and lengthen it out. Where do you think the weight goes in your arm when that happens? It goes into your joints. So your wrist, your elbow, and your shoulder are all bearing the weight of the Still Mace when there's no activation to support the joint. So it's not good because your joints wear out. And if you lengthen a joint too long, it does not go back. So very important, safety first. I'm gonna show you one more time. Pull the Still Mace apart. To lengthen it out, you're gonna push the Still Mace in together. Push, push, push. At the end, pull it apart, seal it in. Push it back in together when you get to crossbody top and pull apart. I hope this helps you in being more aware of your body and to strengthen your practice a little bit deeper.